All right, folks. Um, so today, this is the first stream today. Today I want to finish this section up. I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to redo a bunch of this so it plops more in front here rather than curves around and plops back. I think this is too complex and might cause problems, so I think I can simplify it a little bit. When that's done, I'm going to finish up the walls on this assembly, and I want to finish up this inlane. So this guide here should extend out to about here to help, push the ball into this orbit area. And I want to finish up this this left guide on this side with some changes I mentioned. And then at that point, everything will be in place, and I can start cutting the new playfield. So without further ado, first thing I want to do is change the position of this thing, this mounting post. I want it to be a little higher because you can see I have a little bit of space here. So if I take, I don't think I can move that. No, it'll have to be moved based on the assembly. Where is this assembly? And where is this mounting hole? This thing right here. So this I want to move up a little bit because I have this fixed here. If I unfix that, I can pull this up. Really not going to go up too much. Just enough to like slightly change where this hole is. I'll fix that. And that should bump that up a little bit. Yeah, so if I put that any closer, then I won't really be able to get it screwed in with the guide there. So this is good enough. And I might need to pull it back down again or adjust it slightly when I put this side metal in. I'll know that when I start doing this. Okay, the next step is this hole piece of garbage. I really am. I slept on it. And I was thinking about it, and I really kind of want it changed. So this thing. So everything down, basically down here. What are these fillets? These these two fillets can move. Well, no, they can't because they're attached to this stuff. So that I want. That I want. So these things I don't want. Okay. These things I don't want. Okay. Um this that got rid of all the I don't want to do that. Hang on. I need to make these things not dependent on the lower fillets for no, not that one. This. I need to make this not dependent on this. So let's get rid of this. Now I should be able to pull this up right above here. Yep. And then these things need to make not dependent on this stuff. So that's not on. Oh, no. Okay. Bunch of things I need to get rid of here actually. So that, all of these things. So this was a lot of work that I worked on yesterday that I'm just flat out removing. And you know, say la vie, it happens as you come up with better solutions or think of better solutions or easier solutions that work just as well. That happens. Right, that's all those. Then this can be pulled up there. Right now, this is important. So all of these down here can just go away. All of these can just go away. All right. And that leaves this arm and this swing arm. Okay, so this is going to be slightly different. Let's unfix, or let's unbind this from there. Is this fixed? No. Okay, let's get rid of all of these attach points and everything. This is going to come down over here more because I want the ball to kind of plop here. It's going to be half in this, so it'll curve around and just kind of go down into it. That said, I might not even need that curve. I'll see in a minute. Get rid of all these things. All my time well spent the other day figuring out all of this stuff, and it's gone. Okay. So this curve, so this is ultimately going to come straight out to here, and this is going to be the new mount point here. But I think I do want this to be its own separate autonomous operation, like what I have already down here. So I'm not gonna make that itself. Instead, I'm gonna bring this up and curve it down and around. Like this. Because ultimately, that's basically what this is going to do. And not a center line, a regular line is going to dissect this thing or split this thing in some way. Horizontal. This needs to be tangent. And this. So if I take this and I put this like here, If I put exactly cutting there, that a little higher up is no. I'll do it down because gravity's gonna take over and plop on this anyways. So I'll put this here. This will be approximately how far? 1 inch. That's handy. This is going to be approximately how far? 1.75 inches. That's handy. Then this radius is going to be 7/8 inch. That's fine. So when the ball comes down this way, it'll kind of reflect off of this radius. I actually might make this a 1 inch radius because then it'll be an even smoother curve to reflect the ball down. Yeah, we'll start with that. I'll probably need to make modifications. And this thing, it's going to be for construction because I don't actually want that to cut things yet. I just want to make this shape first. Okay, so now I have this. And now I have this piece, which is slightly wrong. I don't want it to be weird like that. So that's going to change. But first I'll attach this onto here. And that's centered there. That's fine, I guess. This can be 1/8. Oh, 1/8 round. That can be like that. That's fine. Okay. And I'm also gonna add in a 1/16 of an inch fillet over here, or maybe 32 it. 1/16. 1/16 of an inch is fine. That's fine. Okay, so this is all flat, right? So the ball's gonna come in, and it's eventually gonna come down this way. The next feature I want is going to be that hole that I said was a 1 inch over. This doesn't need to be a major size thing, actually. If I only make that 1 inch, then the ball can still kind of make it in there. Yeah, we'll start with that. And this is, of course, 1 inch from the edge here. 1 inch isn't quite right. So 1 and 3/16 is that? Nope, 1 and 1/8 is fairly centered. So this will be the down cut of this. Extrude cut through all. Okay, so now that's the down cut that's going to kind of guide the ball in there. There is a piece of plastic along here to help prevent it from, going where it doesn't need to go. I'll put a raised piece of plastic over here, I think. I'm still debating that. The plastic that's here is generally going to stop here, and there's going to be a piece of bent metal that comes around, I think. That seems to make the most sense to me in this case. So sketch. I'll make 2 little footprint flanges coming up like there. These both need to be equal. They both need to be about 1/2 inch. This one over here. I want this one over here. Now this is interesting with how the plastic's going to sit inside this gully. No, the plastic's going to sit on the outside because those are flanging down. Yeah. No, this will be fine. This needs to be 1/8. It should be collinear. And the space in between them should be 3/16 is fine. That way it's easy enough for the thing to bend it. And really, this can probably be 7/16. So it's just a little smaller. Because this is going to curve down this way. And I want it to hook underneath this and maybe have a little twist so it can't come back out. I'm still debating that. So this whole curve here might not actually be a curve. It might be all kind of flat, where a thing kind of pushes into and twists. Similar to how these things, if I pull one out, so similar to how this has a slight twist. Where is it? These have slight twists on the bottom here. They poke in, and then there's an ever so slight twist. You probably can't really see it very well. And if I do something like that over here, then that will bind everything together well enough, I think. And the other thing I'm debating about too with this is notice how this mount point is here. Well, that means that mount points for this assembly are both going to be on the left side of it, which is a little unstable. Yes, it's a 3-point mount system. It has the mount going through the ramp, so that's the entrance mount. Then it has a fixed or a binding mount at the top to keep it in place, and then it has another binding mount down here. But on this side, there's like on this bend here, there's like nothing but gravity in the ball holding it. So if I move this mount point over to here, if it's possible, so I would need to take this hole and kind of move it down a little bit and or something like that, right? Then there's at least a right side mount point, a left side mount point, and a center mount point. So that adds a little more stability, at least in my mind. It might be negligible. I don't know. So I'll think about that as I do this. But at least for the time being, now distance from here to here, I should probably define that. Yeah, 0.25 is fine. Screwed. Up to the surface will be this surface. Up to this surface, this surface. There we go. Okay. I wasn't seeing my preview for a second, or at least I didn't notice it, so I wanted to make sure it was right. Now let's do another sketch. Add the little feet right here. And I don't want it to attach to the midpoint in the event that I need to change the width of this thing. I want to explicitly tell it 1 and 1/16 and make them collinear. Screwed. And this is going to go up 1/16 of an inch. And then the thing on here, this sketch is going to be a little more particular in what I do because I'm gonna sketch the curve on this as well. You need to move out of the way so I can select this. Thank you. Linear. This and this are collinear. These things are going to be vertical and perpendicular. And I want this to be a nice smooth curve, so I'm going to start it right here. And that'll also make it easy for me to know like where to bend it when I make the thing. Again, just like everything else I kind of do it. Whatever naturally guides me. Whoop, that's not the direction I want it. Whatever naturally guides me around to point out like where things need to go, the better. Around. These need to be collinear. Now, notice how this isn't really that curved because I have two of these flanges. I might have just one flange and then again have this kind of sit on this thing and bend. That might be the correct solution for this. it's going to be a little difficult to model. Whoops. It's going to be a little difficult to model because I can't have these features truly intersect like they would in real life. Otherwise, they would combine together, and I wouldn't be able to unfold the thing for manufacturing, which obviously is not ideal. This and this should be equal. That'll make sure that that's the same. These need to be tangent, tangent, and tangent. This guide ultimately needs to come and make sure the ball doesn't go where it's not supposed to go over here. Nope, I didn't want to unedit that. So this edge here, come on, move, really? Needs to come like there. So that's got to kind of go in through there. So yeah, I don't like this curve. I kind of want this curve to be a little more curved. Let's fix a couple distances first. So here to here can be 1/8. That way it gives me space for the plastic and everything that needs to go over there. Here to no from this. Damn it, man! Let me select the point. From this point to here, 1 7/8. Is that what that is? Basically, yeah. Um, so there's that. I do need to make the little rising piece here. Okay. Now, extrude. This is gonna be 1 inch. So you can see how that kind of goes up and lifts and prevents the ball from going where it doesn't, where I don't want it to go. I need a little flap on this side, I think. Make sure the ball guides down in here. Well, actually, this is small enough. It could still just be the plastic. So I'll just leave it as the plastic. And in reality, I should adjust this a little bit more. So before I get too far, where I'll be, uh, before I get too far into a spot that will make life difficult for me, I'm gonna go back to this, not this sketch, this sketch, and instead of this being 1 3/4 there, and 1 inch there, I don't need this anymore. This can still be a 1 inch radius, but this, so I want to reference this point to, or this edge from the center point. So 4.5. Now I'll be able to adjust this tilt again, because the tilt is not long enough, in my opinion. I want this to come like right over to this edge, and then the plastic will absolutely take care of things, and I don't need to worry about like where the ball is and isn't gonna go. So that tilt is way back at the beginning here. And I modified this last time, but now I want to change it again. So this 2 inches, make that 2 inches again. Let's see what that does. So that sends it too far, of course. Ow. Yeah, notice how this circle is getting cut off in weird ways. Actually, it's not too far, is it? It's just the circle is in the wrong spot. That's because that's based off of something different. So if I go to here, yeah, see that whole curve is right there. Um, that circle cut here is not 1/8 from that. That circle cut should also be from this middle point or this origin point, 1 7/8. It looks 3 7/8. Come on, me. 3 7/8. So that looks about right. And now this thing here, this one. Now in this case, I can't have these two anymore, as I kind of suspected. So I am gonna come up with some kind of hook over on this side. And then that'll also make this quite a bit more gradual of a curve. Come on, can you please? I want it midpoint. I want it corner point, buddy. Yeah, there. Get rid of this. A much more gradual curve now, which is much better. This does not need to be that far down. So let's make from here to here. Fine, let me reference my origin. There to there. 4.5 will be fine. That'll be close enough. This distance can be 6/8, which will just push it a little bit further, again, just so it can guide the ball a little bit more. That'll be good. Now the ball will go in here and reflect down. This thing, technically, so if I have a ball, let's draw a ball in here. And make a construction, and then make this 1 1/16. So if I have a ball, the ball is going to kind of come gliding down along here more because of how gravity works, right? It's going to hit right here. So this is really not great, right? Because it's not actually going to get to the curve. So I should pull the whole curve assembly down. And then, or just make it into a reflect, like a bent assembly. The bent makes more sense in this case, I think. Yeah, I think bent makes more sense. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. To make it bent, it's pretty easy. I just kind of connect these things across here and connect this. This needs to go straight a little bit and then across here and then down. And then I can fix all these little wonky issues. This and this. This and this. These should be perpendicular. These should be perpendicular. These should be perpendicular. This should be collinear. This should be collinear. This. This should be equal. Why? Why is that an issue? Get rid of that. Let's make these 1 1/16 inch. And then solve the problem. This and this are equal. This and that are equal. Okay. Oh, that was yeah. Now this comes over, this comes down. Linear, yeah. I mean, this is a little bit of a wonkiness. Oh, this whole thing should shoot. Let's unfix that from there. That way I can pull this out an 16th of an inch from here, so I have a place to actually bend. And fix this guy over here. Here. Okay, so those are all taken care of. Now I want this to reflect down. So now the ball, when it rides along here, it will hit this and reflect kind of down. Let's draw where the wall is. Make life a little bit easier because the wall is right along here. Then make this tangent to that so it's sitting on there. Oh, I can do that for funsies. I can do that and make this tangent. Because ultimately I want it to reflect diagonally and go down, so this is about right. From here to here is not possible. Okay. Right, because that's attached based on that. That's 4.5 over. Okay, so it needs to be vertical from here to here. 0.5. So, okay, there's the reflect angle. Got two little bends right there. That makes it a little bit more challenging rather than a curve, but oh well, it is what it is. And because of how this works now, I can make my little hook point. So this thing will go into a slot and hook. Now the one thing this doesn't solve is if the ball comes really fast, it could like fly over something. I've had issues where it's where this ball would just kind of launch across. But I think that was more so because I didn't have any wall there. So I think it's less of a problem here. But either way, this should hook into something that I can then kind of flatten a little tab that I can twist. So that's going to be right underneath the bottom of this. So to start off with, all of this needs to be filled in from here kind of up to here. Should be 3/16. I'll make it. Again, I don't want a midpoint to this, because that will screw things up if I need to make adjustments. Screwed to the surface. Here. And now I make a hole. Here. That the tab will go into. So this can be 0.2, 3/8. We'll make it 3/8 inch hole. And this is going to be 1/8 inch. And it's going to be aligned right to this thing. It's going to be at least 1/8 inch up from that. 332. Yeah, that way I have a spot to stick that down in. Through cut. Through all. And then now this thing is going to have that tab. This is going to be 1/4 inch, so it can fit. And this is going to be from here to here, 3/8, 4 7/16. 1332. Yeah, right in there. So it'll go in, it'll go down, then I'll take a tool and I'll twist it. Actually, this isn't 1/4. This is 332. 532. 532, I'll call it. And I'll explain why in a second. I want that higher up, I think. V8. 5. Yeah. Here's extrude. One-eighth is exactly there. So 1/8 plus 1/32, and then this last little flange is gonna be on the bottom here. Is going to be from here, here. This is going to be the 3/8. What was this? What was this? Was this 3/8? That was 3/8. So it needs to be 3/8. minus 116. There's extrude 1/8. Okay. So that sticks through there. And then I can, when I make this, I'll kind of push in, push down and in. And then I'll take pliers and I'll twist. And then this will be bound in this spot and not moving. I mean, it can flop up and down a little bit. There's not a hell of a lot I can do about that. Well, I guess I could make this come down a little bit. Yeah, I could make this come down a little bit. And this will actually help guide me where this other bend needs to be too. So that actually works out pretty well. Come on. Get to right here to here, here to here. I'll add a little bit of a maybe 1/8 from this corner. This corner? Yeah, from this corner. Or 1/16 from that corner. This will be 0.25. Why are you? Oh, because you're not. Okay. Oh, from here to here. That needs to be perpendicular. Okay. And this will come down. Here's extrude boss base. 1/8 minus 1/8 inch minus 132. So just tickle up. Because again, I can't bring it all the way down to meet this thing. Otherwise, it will merge everything together. I think that did merge it by accident. Oh, that's only 1/16. Ugh, that's 1/16 minus 132. 1/16 minus 1/28. Just up ever so slightly, and now, okay, now that's flat. Now that's fine. And it's like almost kissing it as far as this is concerned. But there's enough space here so I'll be able to get that in and twist. And I can even twist and then like flatten under here. So it's really not going to go anywhere. And then that can be a lock-bound piece. Or actually, it doesn't even need to be that big because I can just put that in and I can flatten it, right? But I'm thinking about this a little bit incorrectly. Let me, because I don't think I actually need this section. I think this section here is perfectly acceptable. This can be 330 or 532. No, 3/8 minus 1/16. Yeah. And then actually it shouldn't be in relation to that, it should be in relation to this thing. What is that bound to? So if this is 132, so that goes right down in. And that makes it even easier to build this. So this goes down in, this extrudes. 0.25, 5/16. Yeah, so if that goes all the way down there into the thing, is that possible? Maybe not, because when this flattens out, it might come into that. Oh. Oh. So maybe this needs to be two different operations. Oh. Bugger. Or I just move this. All right. Now I'm gonna go into this also can be adjusted so it actually sits on here properly. While I'm thinking about it. This height here. Can be minus 116. I'll just tickle higher. And that's now properly sitting on that. All right, I'm going to open this up in its own part file because I want to be able to unfold this and see if it conflicts down here. I think it might. That would be under, it's under this. Close this. Open this. I'll have these fillets as separate operations just to make life easy for me. This is going to be 332. This is going to be 132. Okay. Now let's see if this part can flatten. Oh, I forgot that. There and there. So if you don't have bends in all the spots, then the sheet metal isn't going to know what to do. It can't do 90-degree bends. It has tolerances. So for instance, when I select this and I select convert sheet metal, you see it has a minimum or a minimum bend radius of a radius of 0.057 inch or whatever it is, which turned, or I guess that's a diameter, which turns that into what, 0.07 inches or something, which is what these are. Which is why that all works. It looks like no, there's a conflict. Yeah, see this right here? This is my conflict. No. Okay, so there's an easy solution for this, which I'm going to opt for the easy solution. And the easy solution is just move all of this down more so this extends an extra quarter of an inch, and then that will make it past this. And that just is more of a wall so the thing doesn't go off the side. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. So this thing should go to 1 inch. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, because I have the height. Let's get rid of this. Make this 1.75. And let's make the height from this line to this line. That way that stays and I can adjust this height better. Okay, and then this flat piece here. This piece? Yeah, so this piece here. Now it's off of that. You stop. You fix. Actually, you can probably, yeah, let's move you here. Let's make you from the point over. You can still stay that from the point over. You need to go up vertically. That covers that fine. Okay. And then let's get rid of that. No. Pull you down. Make sure you stay on this point. Let's make sure this point here and this point is 3/16. Okay, and then let's make this 1 inch. And now this cut extrude can be based on that. No, this will be based on don't do that. This will be based on the edge here. 3/16. And then that moves the whole shebang down a little bit. Oh, and I can still lap bend that. And now this piece can actually move over onto this side, so that'll be a little more ideal for what I want, because I really kind of want a footprint for it to pinch up against, which I couldn't do previously because I didn't have enough space, but now I have enough space. So now let's save this and flatten it to see if it passes everything. If it does, then I can clean up everything else. Select all bends, okay, flatten. Now see how it makes it past my endpoint here. So I doesn't even need to be that far. I'm going to leave it that far because I can take this tab and I can add little tabs on both sides, so it has a place to clinch and hold on to. But great, this makes me happy. This makes me happy. Okay, so undo that, undo that. This little boss extrusion point is not here anymore. This is going to not be on that, not be on that, not be on that, and not be on that, because these need to move down this way. This needs to be on this, needs to be on this, this, this. And if I look through here, I want them to be a part of that. Now this 1/4 inch is going to go away because I really want this to be 1/16 inch from here. Because then that tells me exactly where that bend point is. So there's one riser point or clinch point, clinch aid, I guess you could say, and here's the other clinch aid. And this is also going to be 3/16. So that works out pretty good. So now those fit right on top there. So when I put this straight in and then bend this pinches really well. This stays the right height for this. So this isn't going to go anywhere when the ball slams into it a bunch of times. And I'm in pretty good shape. And the last bit of this that I care about is probably a little flap here. Okay. So this is something that I may or may not need, but I'm going to add anyways. take this, I go up, I go diagonal, and I come down. And then this angle should be equivalent to this angle. And this should be, 3/8. This can be 1/8 or 1/16. Screwed. Oh, I forgot to close this. Here to here. Okay, so now extrude this to the surface. Here. And then on top of this, I'm going to add a rivet pad. Maybe a dual rivet pad. Or a plastic. Can't do it that way. Yeah, I can do it that way. What am I thinking? I'm going crazy. This should be from here to here. Sorry. From here to here, that should be 0.25. Then from here to here, that should be 0.75 is fine. And then across the middle, I have 2 holes. These are going to be rivet holes. 1/8 inch. Which then tells me this needs to be 3/8 up. No, this needs to not be bound in the middle. It needs to be further up. Here to here is going to be 1/8 or 3/16. 532. 1/4 plus 1/16. Yeah, this will probably be better. Yeah, I want to do it this way. Rude. 1/16. Okay, so this thing here, I'm going to have a plastic mounted on this. So let's evaluate for a second. From here to here is 1 3/4. That's really high. I don't need it to be that high. And that's all dictated by this. So from here to here is how high. That's 1 1/16. So that does need to be 1 1/16 there for the ball. But this section along here doesn't technically need to be that. Well, 1.25 is actually, I think, fine. Or a little over 1 because then if there's a high, yeah, no, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Okay, so now let's let's pull these fillets. Because this is all part of that same assembly. Oh, I can't really? Yeah, I can. Is that? Oh, whoops! I can't do this yet because, like a dum dum, I designed this wrong. This should come up like this. There to there, because I need a place to bend, and currently I don't have a place to bend. So this actually can be midpoint. This actually, yeah, this makes life a little easier too. Let's get rid of that. No, I'm sorry, not that one. Let's get rid of this one. Let's make this midpoint into here. And then let's make this to here. No. This to here. 1/8. This is down to there. So then, yeah, this is better. This is better. Okay, now I can add a fillet here, right? Or did I still screw it? No, it's fine. And I can add a fillet here, right? Maybe not. Let's see if this complains. If I convert to sheet metal, collect all bends, and flatten. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a little weird right there how that bumps out and bumps in. Yeah, so that's not quite what I had in mind. How can I fix this? Oh, I know how I fix this. This extrusion right here actually needs to go the other way. Um, go this way. No. Oh, I can't quite do it this immediate way yet, can I? I got to do another operation in here to do this. Um, this extrusion. If I flip it the other, yeah. All right, hang on. Sorry, just trying to figure this out. Flip this way for a second, and then this section gets cut. Hmm? Oh, oh. Oh, okay. How can I fix this? I know how I can fix this. edit this sketch. This doesn't do that. This aligns right in there. And then I extrude up from here. Sketch. Vert. Extrude. 116. Yeah. Then this now needs a new plane. The plane needs to be this thing. And then all these points need to be rebound. Oh, I already got the, no, I want. Yeah. Now this goes to there. This goes to there. And all these other, oops. All these other oddities get fixed as well. Okay, and now when I add these things back in, yeah, okay, so this twisted that the way it needs to be twisted. Now it's going up. So now the sheet metal will actually be straight flat if I convert this sheet metal. Flatten. Yeah, see how this is now all one straight line? That's what I actually wanted. I needed to add this extra little like giraffe neck type of thing to fix the problem. Okay, so that's that. And in here, I probably should add an ever so slight fillet. Maybe it can be the same fillet. No, it cannot. Okay. Fillet. Here. 1/64. It can be 1/64 inch. That's fine. That works. I'm not sure fully the tolerances of the CNC machines. I think they're fine with effectively doing square corners because it's some kind of special laser that Sencut Send uses. But for certain pinch cuts like that, I kind of like to round it because that's more than 90 degrees, right? If you have 90 degrees, it's probably fine. But once you get more than 90 degrees or less than 90, I guess this is more than 90, less than 90 degrees, I feel as though there's going to be tool issues. So I like to adjust points like that. No, I didn't want to do that. Okay, so this is probably going to be this assembly. Now, the point of this is I'm going to have a plastic on top. And that plastic will help prevent the ball from flying into the stratosphere when it goes around really quickly. And it'll be a little clear plastic. You'll see. I'm going to save this. I'm now going to create all these plastic parts for this thing. Because everything is all part of an assembly already. And because actually, there's one more thing I want to do. These 1/16 inch shooters, I kind of want slightly rounded edges here, just to make it less sharp. Now, just because this is a smaller flange, I don't need it to be as large as this. I think these are 1/8, so 1/32 or whatever. Or I guess these were 1/16. So a 32nd of an inch is probably fine. Uh, All right. So I'm going to create some of these parts externally to this because it's just easier to do flat parts. The distance between these things is click that. Come on, click this. Click it. This and this. For Christ's sake, come on. This guy and this guy. Oh, this is in millimeters. 32. Okay. Now, let's measure. Distance from here to here is, looks like it's 3/8. Yeah, it's 3/8. Okay, so that's easy enough. And then click on this, and we view it on a plane. And then we measure from, say, here to here. That's 2 inches. Yeah, we'll call it 2 inches. That's probably good enough. This says 2.5. It's not perfect on here, and I don't want diagonal down. I want diagonal up, but we'll call it 2 inches because that'll be close enough. All right, so now let's make a new part. New part. Make this up. Sketch. Here. Actually, let's not do that. Let's do that. So this is 2 inches. This is 0.7. Oh, this is gonna be 1 inch. Then these things up here, these are the mounting holes. This and this are gonna be equal, and they're gonna be 1/8 inch. This is where, like I said, stuff gets attached. This is 3/8 inch apart, 1/8 inch diameter. There, these are gonna be I want it a little further up than that. We'll call it 5/16 from there, and we'll call it 0.25 from the edge there. Okay. Extrude 1/16. Then fillet the edges ever so slightly. It's going to be a 1/8 inch fillet, I think. Will be fine. 1/8. Okay, this is going to be called the, where is it? Right ramp return upper reflector. And this is going to be yeah. So now let's take this part. Let's move this part onto here. We'll mate it. Mate in the spot that it needs to be. And then that'll be the first of 3 plastics for this particular ramp. 1, 2. And then that's perfectly fixed in place. I'll make this translucent. And now let's see how well it lines up. Okay, so yeah, this I think I'll pull this down a little bit more. So this ramp thing is 1.25. Just because it has such a big overhang over here, you know. That's why it has to be kind of this way more. Now, this is going to break some of the ideas that I have. This is going to break some plastics ideas I have for layering, but I can probably work around that. This ramp, or this plastic really, actually, let's pull this up, because this, technically I can cut this in here, like so. Can be 3/8 in. This can be 1 inch is fine. This, instead of it being up like that, how would I make this slightly diagonal? Call this 3/16. You know, that way it's got a little bit of a thing. Features extrude cut. All. And then fixing this. Obviously this edge doesn't exist, but I have 3 additional edges. Well, 2 additional edges technically, because that edge moved to here. No, to here. Then I have this edge, this edge, and this edge. Okay, so now when I look parallel to this plane, I have space here, because that's the other plastic goes along here. And I kind of want a piece of plastic to stick up and kind of loop around, just to add more scenery and add more interest with some art on there. The point of this plastic, of course, is to prevent the ball from flying around and, you know, going to the stratosphere. This reflects it down and kind of keeps it in place. One thing I do need to add to this, because right now it's not going to do any of that protecting, because it's not riveted in place. So I will add these rivets in. One rivet goes there. One rivet. Come on. 8. One rivet goes there. Yeah. One rivet goes there. Yeah. And then they're bound to the top of this thing. We got rivet 1 and rivet 2. Perfect. Okay, so now that'll actually do its job because it's riveted on. Huzzah! Okay, 2 more pieces of plastic I want to do. And I'm only going to do basic versions of them right now. I'm not going to get all detailed. The point of this is to make sure it works before I get all the sceneries and interest in. But I did kind of leave it open so I can do some sceneries and interest. The next plastic is going to be a little more dynamic, because it's going to be the outer wall, the wall facing the player the most, that prevents the ball from dropping. And I'm making these out of plastic so you can see what's going on. I want the ball to be visible, and I want to be able to put art on it. So to do this, I am gonna make these parts in place. I think. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna new part front. This is going to start off like this. And this is all going to need to be adjusted once I get to the real thing. But if I have a rivet hole here that is, 0.75 up, then from that rivet hole to the top of this, that's 3/8 plus 1.25. So that's going to be like this high. And then, I'll start this off as 2 inches just for funsies. This is a 1/8 inch hole. That's a rivet hole. And this is going to be 0.5 from the edge. So again, I don't really know what this is. I just need to get a ballpark start figure on here. So I'm going to exit the sketch, extrude 1/16, and then I'm going to make the rest of the plastic well in place there. File, save as. This is going to be right ramp return front plastic. And then I'm also going to save this as the back plastic, because the back plastic is going to be almost the same thing, at least from the start. Back plastic. With the exception that it's going to have some extra cuts kind of in and around, and it's not going to be as long, really. It's going to be much shorter. So instead of this being 2 inches for the back plastic, I'm going to make this, come on, 1 inch. So, it's much shorter. It still needs to be modified, but, this will get it started. Okay, now let's reopen the assembly. And let's drop both of these plastics in there. I got the front plastic, and I got the back plastic. So if I take this mate onto here, the other way, and this mates to here, okay, then this mates to here, the other way, and this mates into here. Okay. I'll fix this. Well, I'll fix all of the. Well, yeah, I'll fix both of these. Once I get to this other mounting point, I'll be able to mate it with that mounting point, and then it won't move around. But right now, it's gonna kind of shimmy around if I'm not careful. All right. So the first question is the distance from here. Not mating. The distance from up here down here is 1.32, which is way too long. At least as of right now, it's way too long. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to edit this part. Assembly, edit component. This guy does not need to go that high. He can go 1 and 7/16. Now what's that? Evaluate me from here to here. That distance is 1 and 3/16 basically. That's still technically taller than it needs to be because I know exactly where the ball's coming out. I'll make this 1 3/8. And that'll be fine. That'll be fine for this. Now the next thing to do, this curve starts almost right at this plastic. So let's go to here. This sketch is not going to be that long. Any stretch of the imagination. It's effectively going to go right to here. Whatever this length is. 1 5/8. I'm sorry, just 5/8? Yeah, okay, 5/8. All right, then from here, it's going to swing around. So I'm going to do a top sketch, and I'm going to extend it down, because that's going to be the easiest way to do tangent swings. Yeah, you're not going to like that. And when I go to make these plastics, it will be basically treating them as though they're bent sheet metal, and flattening them, and then I'll have the actual plastic for this. So for this, I do need to do a guideline here, and a guideline. Come on, 8, a guideline here. You know, just so I have something for the tangent arc to be tangent to. And then over here, it's going to tilt sideways, so I'll do a side build with that at that point. But first, stop it. This loops around to here. And this loops around to here. And this can go forward a tickle. Why are you trying to make this? What are you doing? This is not vertical. This is horizontal. Oh. Oh. Whoops. That's not what I want either. Okay. Just delete that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to make that tangent to that. I'm going to go here. I'm going to... No. I'm not going to do anything apparently because it doesn't want to work with me very easily. This is going to go into here. It's going to be tangent. This is going to be... This is perpendicular. Good. This and that are perpendicular. Natively good. I'm going to make sure the center line is in there and perpendicular. That'll make sure this stays the correct width. That way I don't need to do widths everywhere, because now you see if I take this and move it around, it stays the correct width. And I want this to be basically collinear with this. I'm not collinear, parallel to this. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to delete that and fix it, because I really don't want it to be associated with that per se. And then this line can be associated with this for a moment. Not collinear, I'm sorry. Hold on. Oh, it's selecting the wrong line. This line and this line, these can be collinear, but then I'll fix this because stop selecting that one. I'll fix this one and get rid of the collinearness. That way, again, it's disassociated, which will be good. And then I have my flat plane that I can work on. Exit, features, extrude, up to surface. Extrude all the way down to this guy. And now I have a flat front piece. I can do this. I can say sketch. Gonna effectively, I might just keep this straight and it's gonna go to about like there. I'm gonna kind of do that ish. And I do need to connect this to here. You did not attach. Attach. Thank you. Where is this going to in relation to that? So it can go a little more forward to about there. So let's set this to be an actual size. 2.25 is pretty close. Let's make this an actual height of 1.25, which is fine. Now, again, this is going to be interesting because I want to do art that kind of swirls up and around. I can always add that later on. I'm not going to worry about it. This can be straight flat across because this guy is right there. And I want to have kind of dangling vines too. And I'll make a hole right here. Oops. Right here. This is 1/8. This, that, this is going to be fixed here. Now this, then extrude up to surface this side. That goes right up against that. And then I can mate these holes. They're effectively right on the same spot, right? Where they should be. Yeah, they are. So if I mate this with this, okay, why won't you mate? Well, because I need to float it. Now I can mate this with this. Huzzah. Okay. Now if I go back and I look at this whole thing, this is pretty solid on there. It's not going to go anywhere. And this can become translucent because technically this is plastic. So that's kind of what this outer side is going to look like. Now, ultimately, I do want to trim this a little higher. Maybe, maybe not. This is a good distance there because that's where the ramp sticks out, and so this won't get in the way of the ramp. And sorry about that banging. That is the plow outside because it is snowstorming like crazy today. Okay, so now let's add my rivets. So I got one that goes over here, one that goes over here. We'll mate this to this, and we'll mate this to this, and then the front of the rivet mates onto, I'm sorry, the top of the rivet mates onto the front of the plastic, not like that. Like that, okay. And then the other rivet way over here, the Top of the rivet mates onto the front of the plastic again. All right. Now let's see how this looks in the actual pumpkin game, because I might need to trim some of this to begin with. I think it's fine. Obviously, I'm going to want to curve some of these edges at some point, but I think it will be okay. Let's take a quick peek. That is here. So now when everything loads in, boom, there's that. This is perfectly fine. I am probably going to make this a little diagonal there. That flange is perfectly fine. So you can see how this all kind of mates in there using these plastics. I got to make this plastic now that goes along the inside. And now the interesting thing about this plastic is it's going to be pretty tight. Like this curve is going to really require me to bend the thing around. I don't have any plastic around here that I can give an example of, unfortunately. Yeah. I got this, I guess. So that plastic is basically going to be curled really tight like this. And that might require some preheating of the plastic to make it flexible and bend it before it's installed. Otherwise, it could crack or some such. And that's certainly something to worry about. But at the same time, maybe I don't even need plastic there. I just need this peg to convert it. Well, I kind of want the plastic to be there. All right, well, anyways, this looks good there. Yeah, it's not getting in the way of the ramp. The ball can't just flop off the ramp. It'll go straight into the plastic curve around. So one thing I do notice a little bit is the ramp is kind of high up there, so the ball could fly out. Well, the ball's never going to... Nah, I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. All right, let's work on the inside model now. Let's rotate. Yeah, let's rotate this like this. Go to this assembly and start dealing with it. So just like the other one, at the very beginning, this ramp piece, this is going to be 3/8, or I'm sorry, 5/8, because it's going to go right to the edge of that, and then it's going to curve around. And I'm going to do that curve on the top. What I'm going to do this time, though, is I'm going to convert entities and make all these for construction. I don't need that one. And that just makes it a little simpler. And then this one is not for construction. Now I can more easily do my my little loopy loop thing here. My tangent arc. Get all my lines in place. These are all okay. This is tangent to, that's tangent to that, and that's good. This needs to be perpendicular. This is going to need to be perpendicular. There to there is perpendicular. There to there is perpendicular. There to there, that's already perpendicular. There to there, perpendicular. Okay, and then this comes out. Come on, rotate. Why? What, are you perpendicular to something I don't want you to be perpendicular to? Oh, that's horizontal. I don't want that to be horizontal. Okay. So now this is going to become collinear to this again. And I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to fix this in place. I can drag this up and down, right? Yeah, technically I can. That tells me this is not perfectly in line. So the other side is probably going to have the same problem. So between here and here is supposed to be 1/16. No, it's going to be driving. Why are you... Go to the fix? What are you complaining about here? This and this is collinear. Okay. Now fix this. Get rid of the collinear. Now fix this. Get rid of the distance. And you are still tangent, right? Yeah, you are. Okay. Just want to make sure that was the right distance. It's not the right distance. Oh. I get rid of this. This needs to be 1/8. That's the correct distance. Okay. Now I can fix this. That will come. Oh, I know an easy way to... That and that. They're collinear, right? Yeah, they are collinear. Okay. Cool. So that's that. And now extrude to surface. Down to here. Good. And now I need to modify this edge. Sketch. Going to be the front. And it's going to be a similar idea with what I did on this other one. Going to come over to, you know, not as far as that one. It's going to be just as high, though. And I'll fix all this in a moment. Vertical. I don't... Oh, because you're trying to... Oh, that's not vertical. Yeah, that's right. This needs to be perpendicular. Stop that. Okay. And then this distance needs to be 2 inches will be fine. Because it can go a little bit away from where this metal piece is. That's okay. This distance can be 1.25, which is what that height is. And okay, so this is... No, I'll get the basic shape in first. I'll do the basic shape first. And then I can extend things up and do some fun things. Because this plastic, because it curves around, that way I can actually not curve some of it, and it can go straight across and kind of add a little bit of plumage around there, right? And so that'll be behind, and then this will be some plumage in front, which could be kind of visually interesting with how it's set up. Anyways, that's a problem for not quite yet me. All that. Features extrude to surface. This surface, yep. Okay, and the one thing I did forget to do there was the rivet hole. So I'll add that in. The rivet hole is right here. This is not associated with anybody. 1/8. Alrighty. And then the height of this, I'll pull this down just like I did the other one. I made this 1 3/8. You know, just like the other one. Keep it consistent for now. Yeah, see how this is not quite right there? That's kind of okay. Maybe I'll modify it a little bit. That this is 1 5/16, I think. 1 3/8. A little higher up. That's okay. Cool. Now, that's it for that one, basically. Let me get 2 rivets in, and let me get those rivets on. This rivet mates this hole. This rivet mates to this hole. This plastic mates to the rivet head here. And this plastic section mates to the rivet head. Like so. Well, no. This mates to this. Like that. Okay. Now, this is going to be, hey, this is going to become translucent. Okay. And that's basically this, where I can have some plastics and, or some images and whatnot on there. Now, if we look straight down, this passes by this, which is perfect. That's why I did what I did. So let's edit this part for a second. Let's take this. Let's do a sketch. Let's sketch from... Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's sketch from here to here, thereabouts. That should be... Try to make it vertical. I don't want this vertical or horizontal, whatever it is. Because that verticality is different for this thing. This can come all the way down to here. Maybe. What is the length of this? The length of this is 1.45, so I'll make this 1 7/16. Features extrude. I'll extrude this up 0.25 inches. Right. Now sketch. Now that I have this surface to sketch on, I can do fun things like this can come over here and up and back down. That's kind of fun, right? Not do that. Let's do... Keep this collinear. Don't bend that. Or do I want it? But no, I don't want that bent yet. Nope. And let's tangent this you know, like that or something. I don't know. I'm just screwing around, just kind of show you what I'm kind of talking about. Didn't want to end that quite yet. All right. Features extrude. This. Features surface. No. Up to surface. Sketch up to surface. I want it to be this surface. Yeah, okay, so see how this kind of pops up and around behind things? And then naturally covers this section a little bit. And likewise, this section can come up and around and kind of swoop this way, right? And then you have a really neat vine layer effect, visual layer effect. So I'll just leave that in there for now. I'm not sure what I want to do with that yet. The art will dictate how those plastics end up being. But for nowsies, that is good enough. Now let's go to this guy, and we can now see this plastic all kind of loop and fit. Oh, the one thing I didn't do on here is fix this section, so I'll go back and I'll fix that in a moment. Yeah, but see how that kind of comes up and around? And that also helps block the ball, so if it's trying to fly across. But more than likely, I'll probably use this and I'll put some LED graphics or some LED, like maybe some texture with an LED here, indicator or something, because that can be higher up. So now you're shooting this ramp, and instead of it being indicators down at the bottom here, it can be indicators up on this plastic without a problem. And that would be pretty nifty to have that all part of one singular assembly that can then have a handy dandy through hole, like right down in there, that the cabling goes into. And likewise, this ramp now has a spot where it can go and it can safely kind of plop out. And you might be wondering, well, Lynn, there's still quite a bit of space here that could mean the ball could shift where you don't want it to. And yes, you're right. I do need to add something there. Just like one more plastic layer up is really all you need, I think. Um, yeah, I think one more plastic layer up. Or I could extend this and just flange it down a little bit. I'll just kind of guide that down. On this side, though, it would need another plastic for sure. This is one of those things I'll have to try and see and see what the game actually does. I don't want to over engineer this yet, because if I don't need to put plastics there, I really rather not. Um, if anything, I rather have like this plastic extend over, or maybe another like horizontal tab come here with a piece of, or off of this diagonal with a piece of plastic aiming down, and that might be the right answer, just to cut this diagonal here, do a similar flange like this, and have that come down, and then that's all part of this one assembly that just protects it and keeps everything all together, right? I don't know. I don't know yet. But the point that I need to figure out right now is where I need to mount things. And I think I have all my mounting holes like defined at this point to be able to at least do another primary cut. A couple things I think I do want to add on to the main playfield. Oh, I don't, because I have this weird apparatus. Whoops. This weird apparatus over here I need to worry about. But, I wonder if I just take this wood and pull it up to here. That's probably fine. Um, yeah, I mean, that's probably fine if I just pull that wood up over there. I do want to add on the main playfield in the device holes a big old hole here and a big old hole over here. Can this be crossed to that? Yeah, so, and these two things can be equal. And they can be 0.75. Let's make them horizontal for realsies with each other. This is going to be plug holes for the apparatus down here. Like, because I need to have, whatchamacallit, because of this, maybe it makes sense to make this thinner. I need to have a way to have optos here for these particular down posts, so I know if the ball is there or not. So that's what these particular holes would be used for. Fixed there. This can be fixed. Come on. Can be fixed right there. And obviously I don't want it too far to the edge there. I mean, technically I can have the cable snake under here more. I don't want it to snake under there because... Oh, hold on one second. I don't want it to snake under here because now it's going to have two different cable lengths, and I'd like this opto assembly to be 100% the same with this opto assembly. So I make two optos for the price of one. Or I can optimize costs by having multiple of the same type of device. Because this down post is already the same as that down post. If the opto for the down posts can be the same on both sides too, that helps. So instead of making 15 optos, or 15 opto for one side, 15 opto for the other, I may it, which is two different things. I can make 30 optos altogether. It helps with costs, right? And this is an opto that I can, in theory, really use more often. I'd like it to be the kind of the bottom little triangle thing that's used. I think Avengers uses it. I'm not Infinity Quest, the original Avengers. I think it used like bottom optos that had a little reflective thing that if it's clear, if it's going under the clear plastic right here, then it can just see where the ball is. I need to get a couple of those, but that's what these holes are for. Then, as I said, I'd really like to have an access hole over here. This can be a slot, kind more underneath, I guess, here. I can do like a slot over there. I mean, it doesn't need to be this big. Let's make this 0.5 inches, and let's make size 5/8. I mean, that should be plenty big enough to get most random cablings through. I don't want that. And then I can do a similar thing over here where I have a slot here, and it can be, we'll call it 0.75, and then the size can be 0.75. I want to have kind of a complex mech over here with some things for the vine. Excuse me, for the vine, which actually can be something else I can start defining this week, because I think that'll be kind of fun. So this can be underneath there. That can be underneath there. So those are those access holes. Obviously, I have an access hole over here for this. I probably need an access hole up over here for something, so let's add another slot here. Let's pull this down over here more, or underneath the ramp type of thing. This can be, again, 0.75 and 0.75. Put this, pull this over here more. I don't want it to get in the way of the pumpkin, the underside of the pumpkin assembly, really. And this needs to be more like underneath the ramp-ish, right there. So that has that. That's another way for random holes to go through. And I'll put a similar thing over here, just so this top section has a hole. This is just going to be a 0.75 hole. Over here, I need some through holes back here. So I'll add a slot here, and I'll add a slot here. These are all going to be the same 0.75 slots. I think that makes the most sense. And again, just something for the to get cables up and in, because I foresee lighting and other things that need to be up above the table. Oh, not what I wanted. Not what I wanted. I want this to be 0.75. That over there. Same idea over here. Point 0.75 and 0.75. Okay, so those are just ways to get the cables up and through, like I said. It's not imperative that they're there, but it's at least helpful to have some of these things floating around in various spots, especially during development. Like I don't know what I'm going to put in and where I'm going to put in it. I'm not necessarily going to put all the GI holes because God knows what, right? And some GI holes would like kind of fit in over here, and I might need to shift these down a little bit so get the GI holes where I want them to go. I am also going to change these slots. Nope, not those. It's over in cabinet, no, flipper area holes. So these slots typically have a 0.2. I'm going to make this 0.25 wide. It's not going to affect the bracket I typically use, but I don't know how big or how wide the sliding style Williams post is. So if I make it a little bit wider, if anything, I only have to file a little bit to get it to fit for the test. I don't have one of those, so I can't actually measure it, unfortunately. So that's that. Um, rebuild. So those are a bunch of the holes there. And I think that covers most of it. And I do kind of just want to pull this up, because then once you get up to this point here, the ball is not going to make it through this plastic. The plastic can act as a guide a little. Oh, I want to do this edge a little bit. So step one, I'm going to modify this guy. Yeah, I'm going to modify this guy a little bit. Oh, that's a cut. Nope, that's not the... I want the cut. I want this cut. Actually makes it a little bit easier. Let's make this 1 inch. 1.5 inch. Actually, yeah, because these feet are in the way. 0.75 inch. Right. So that allows those feet to still be there. These mounting feet be there. Second. And again, the ball isn't going to make it through that. So this guide is going to be fine. Okay. Next step, this guide up here add a component. I'm going to then sketch here and extend this out. So actually before I do any of that, let's measure something. Evaluate, measure the length of this arc, right there. So that arc, it not 12 inches. What are you talking about? There's no way that's 12 inches. Oh, that's the radius. The arc length is 5.63 inches. So I have 5.5 inches that I can extend this out before it gets into a problem over here. So if we get rid of that and go back to this, sketch here to here, and I'm going to make it 16th of an inch up from the bottom point. Here's extrude. I'm going to extrude this 4 inches. Because I want this to curl in a little bit. So to do that, actually, the proper way to do that would be not to do it 4 inches, but to do I'll do it 1 inch, and then pop down this, sketch on this, and then make sure this comes in far enough over here. This and this are perpendicular. You know, this is a lot of what I've done in the past just to make this is not horizontal. To make all these little shifts and bends and things. So you can see kind of patterns forming with some of the design that at least I do. I'm not saying the way I design things is the be all and end all way to do it. It just works for me. These are equal in length. This only has to come in here. So the distance, the cut in distance is what, like 3/32 of an inch from here to here. 3/32 of an inch. Yeah, and then that's gonna just guide the ball in off the side, and I will make a cut in the side of the side rail, or I'll just change the side rail altogether so this thing has a place to go. And now the length of this, remember, we already used 1 inch. So we have 4.5 inches left, basically. So if I make this 4 inches like that, when it flattens, it'll all work out. And now this I want to extrude, like always, up to a surface that I've already defined. Happens to be over here. Now, something else to take note of. The distance from here, the top of the guy, entry ramp is to the top of this piece of metal is 3/8 inch. So a ball is like the midpoint of a ball is like 7/16 or so. Let's see. If it's 11/16, I'm sorry. If it's 17/16, like normal height, 1 and 1/16 to 17/16, right? So it's 17/32 is the midpoint, or ideally 18/32, which turns into 9/16. So you really want it 9/16, which means this sheet metal should be increased in height a little bit for this bend to allow the ball to guide in. So that means I take this section, sketch, zoom out a little bit, and I can convert some of these. So some of these lines here, convert entities. Let's attach this. That is, no, I don't want that horizontal. I want to make sure that that's perpendicular to this. I don't know if horizontal is perpendicular. I rather explicitly say perpendicular, because I know over here horizontal is not perpendicular. So maybe it was just an implied relation. So now this, those are attached. This is perpendicular. That's all. That's gonna all be good. Exit sketch, features, extrude. So that was 3/8. So if I want 9/16, well, one more than 9/16 is 10/16, which is 5/8. So I want basically 3/16 added onto this for it to be the bare minimum. I want a little more than the bare minimum, so I'm going to add 2/8 or 1/4 inch to the height of this. Then for sure it'll be where it needs to be. And then along this wall here, I can just put a cut, because I don't necessarily want a sharp section right there. So from there to there to there to there, let's call this 0.5 inches, features, extrude, cut through all. That, that makes it less sharp for people's hands. So now this curve is going to be fine. Now this might be a problem. I might want to cut this in a little bit more, right? Because the bend detector, I think, is going to piss and moan about this. Let's go to sketch. Let's add a slot right here. This attaches to this. This attaches to this. And I'll midpoint this here. Oh, right in there. And I'll make this, 0.25. Sure. Features, extrude, cut through all. So now when I convert this to sheet metal, it probably won't complain as much. I hope. Oops, come on. What I wanted. Okay, so now I have a metal guide here. And I can do a cut into this piece to allow that guide to go somewhere. Before I do that, though, there is one thing that I did not do yet. I features fillet. Give me a 2-inch, 10-inch. Yeah, 10-inch fillet there. And then on this side, nope. On this side, needs to be like an 8-inch. Well, usually it's like half. I'll just make it 5. That I don't know if that's fully accurate, but it'll be close enough to convert to sheet metal, I think, because it'll get the idea. So now that curves in there. This section here, what I really would like is to mount it. Yeah, there's no great way to do that. Well, I guess there is. I could extend it up, and I could use a side foot for that. All right. Well, anyways, I need to modify this at a component. This sketch here. This needs to have this. I need to do a cut along here, roughly. That this piece of metal comes along here and goes until there. .75. See, this is the edge of that metal. This is the bottom of that metal. It's got to live kind of like right in there. And it starts like right over there. So that's probably fine. So let's see, this to the bottom of this part is 5/8. 5/8 plus 1/16. Yeah, that's more accurate. And these all need to have fillets in there because of how the CNC tool works. My CNC tool. This is cut with the wood tool. 1/8 inch fillet. Here's where'd you go? This is gonna be. Oh, I don't want to edit sketch. I want to extrude cut. 30 seconds. That will now allow it to kind of sit right in there. It'll be a little hard to see because of all the stuff around here. I was going to allow it to just kind of sit right inside of there. And that will be fine for now. I mean, ultimately, I need some way to bind it. What some companies do is they put screws right there. I don't really want to do that. Some of them have it sitting on top of the rail, which is what I'm more thinking about, but I don't have that kind of cut allowance, since that means this down here would need to be cut deeper, which would then affect this rail, like the actual guide for the orbit, which is bad. So I'm just gonna have it sit there, and I'll just torque the bend in quite a bit so it's force pushed in, and honestly, that might be good enough for what this needs to be. Now, technically, another option is to put a push rivet, well, not rivet, but a push bolt on there. You know, that a bolt that has pressure, kind of like what these ramps have down at the feet, that sticks through to this side, and it's like just a half-inch bolt that then has a very tiny nut on it to keep it in place. I don't know if I really want to do that either. Um, and the final option is to not have it come off of this rail at all. It just comes forward a little bit, and to have the right side of this launch ramp bend up in the spot that it needs to bend, and then that for sure secures it along this wall here and can guide the ball the direction it needs to guide. Maybe that's the correct solution for this. I don't know. I'm going to leave it like this for now. I can always modify it in version 3. Uh, yeah, so that's the launch ramp area. I do need to cut little holes, mounting holes for this thing. I can do that shortly. That's not an immediate need now. I moved this up. Again, the ball isn't going to fall into these spots. I mean, it might rattle a little bit when I cut this plastic, but I don't care per se. When you launch it straight up, it's really just going to be funneled straight because of this. Um, so yeah, I'm not concerned about it. And there is a ramp. Well, this does need a ramp flap. I could always define the ramp flap somehow. And well, I need to define the ramp flap and the mounting points for the ramp flap before I send this off to send cut send. Also, it's gonna basically be just like this, but just thinner and fit in this spot. Again, what some companies do here is, instead of it being mounted through like this, they have push rivets on the bottom that they can then put a single screw in, kind of like this, kind of like, again, like these. And I wonder if that's the better solution. But that's one more thing I need to make. It's easier to make a ramp flap and rivet it. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a bunch of discovery for a lot of this. But whatever solution I come up with for this side can be the same solution for over here. And I think that is just to have rivets on there and to slide the whole kit caboodle into the hole here. All right. I think that's enough for now. I got this done. This was the main thing I wanted to do. I rejiggered it from yesterday. This should drop down here fine. If there are already two balls here, it's not going to get too far. as I said, I can always do what I did with this plastic up here. Make another one of these little tabby things along this side to deflect the ball straight down. And ultimately, that's probably what I'm going to do. And that keeps everything all in the same assembly and ensures the ball doesn't go where I don't want it to go. But I'm not going to do that right now. It's dinner time. I want to go eat something. And then relax for the rest of the day. Okay, this is saved now. Let's update drawings. Because I always like keeping those drawings updated. It's under this. This is going to have this whole assembly here now, which is good. It also has this thing kind of in over here. All right, save that. Save as. It's going to be the PDF. Then the other thing I want to update is where is it? The playfield itself. And like really nothing changed on this. Like, a couple extra holes got added in. That's about it. This is probably what I'm going to cut this week. I don't think I need anything new added to this that would drastically force me to delay. I think. Something else that I've been playing around with is the plastic layout. So obviously I need to put 3 more plastic pieces on, but 2 of those plastic pieces need to be unfolded, and I don't want to do that until like the last minute. Because that makes life annoying when I have to fold and unfold things just for cut layouts and things. But those plastics can probably fit in like these little. Well, one of them can fit in this spot here. One of them can probably fit like down and around underneath here. You know, there's gonna be a bunch of tiny little plastics that can go in all kinds of various spots. Like a plastic can fit in over here eventually. So that's all cool and fun. Save that because there were some modifications to it. I think that's about it. Of course, the playfield, which is hard to see because reasons. Do these work? No, 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 no. Eh. Yeah. So, oh, this is still in. Oh, this is not in perspective mode. Good. Yeah. So that's what the playfield cut is gonna look like. I'm gonna do this week. I am gonna cut this week. I'm tired of waiting. And once I cut this, then I'll be able to start making the ramps. The ramps will need to be cut. The ramp bucks, I mean, will need to be cut. Then the ramps will need to be formed. And I also need to start prepping all the metals to be sent to Send Cut Send. There are these 2 ramp metals that may need the ramp flaps, so those are something that next time I should finalize and figure out. And next time that other return ramp assembly thing, I think I am gonna just add that bent section and not necessarily use it unless I have to use it, but I think I might actually need to use it the more I think about it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream, or either live or in VOD land. So I will see you next time.